going on, everyone? So the San Antonio Spurs went with Mitch Johnskn to replace Greg Popovich, right? Never going to replace Greg Popovich, but Mitch Johnskn looks to kind of take over the mantle with a very young, very talented, very gifted team. And although I wasn't a big fan of Mitch Johnskn last season, I thought his lineup constructions were not great. I thought his rotations weren't great. I thought his decision making, his play calling, I wasn't a fan of him last year. Now, last year, it was a weird year, right? Kind of got thrown in the mix, trying to kind of keep things aligned. You don't know if Pop's coming back or not. You have all these moving pieces and parts, and you made promises to guys like Chris Paul. So even when you got De'Aaron Fox, you're still trying to uphold that promise to Chris Paul. And you saw like kind of the awkwardness of Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox playing alongside each other. So again, I understand that there were circumstances last year. Okay, no problem. I'm willing to give him a shot this year and kind of, not hold last year against him, right? However, given the circumstances with this team, because a lot has happened since last season, right? Not only do you got De'Aaron Fox now in a full season, you lost Chris Paul, so just inherently, you're going to have an easier time, but now you look at this roster, you got several young guards. I mean, this team is stacked with guards and wing depth and all this stuff, right? Like, it's a good problem to have. Like, having too much young talent, having to figure out, it is something that definitely is a good problem to have. But I have my concerns that Mitch might not be the right guy to do so. Because you need to develop guys, you need to make sure you get guys minutes, you need to manage egos, you need to manage the young guys and just their inconsistencies and ups and downs while also trying to win. It's a lot for even an experienced head coach. Even for a guy like a Greg Popovich, it's a lot that he'd have to kind of, dig through and solve and stuff, right? I'm not saying, obviously, Pop is Pop. Like, I wouldn't be worried about him figuring out, but that doesn't mean it's not a lot. He's just comfortable, right? He's done it. He knows. He gets it. He's gone through iterations of the Spurs over the years and stuff and developing young guys and trying to find minutes for guys and whatnot, right? But you look at it, right? Like, got De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper, those three guard rotations, having them get equal minutes while still developing Stephon Castle and developing Dylan Harper. Right? You saw him kind of be very inconsistent with Stephon Castle until he had to, right? Like, you saw when everything was happening, it was like he's having 10-minute games, and it's like, and then he has an 8-minute game, and then he has like a DNP, and it's like, is he hurt? Like, what's going on? And then it's like, okay, like he was all over the place, right? He's starting one game, he's coming off the bench the next, he's doing and it just, there was no real structure and consistency with Stephon Castle until you had to, right? Until De'Aaron Fox ends up going down, so on and so forth. Then, it's like, okay, well, now we kind of need him to play a bigger part, play a bigger role. All of a sudden, he comes on the scene. Right? And don't get me wrong, he still had his moments, still had his glimpses. And there were games that, Mitch did play him heavily and leaned and confided in him. But, you saw the inconsistencies even from a coaching standpoint. And now you're going to have even more. You're going to have Carter Bryant. You're going to have Dylan Harper. You're going to have Stephon Castle. You're going to Wimby is easy. It's just, hey, how many minutes do you want to play today? 40? All right. But the other guys, getting De'Aaron Fox, having the right lineup construction out there. It's not as simple as just throwing guys out there. Sure, you might want to experiment here and there. What does a Fox, Harper, Castle, Wimby, and Olynyk or Cornette lineup look like? Right, 2 bigs, 3 guards. Like, what does that look like? Right, what does Harrison Barnes with Jeremy Sohan and Carter Bryant like? Yes, it's fine to experiment and kind of go through different lineup iterations and kind of see, okay, what works, what doesn't, and stuff. But last year he just kept doing the same thing. It's like, it's not working. And instead of making the adjustments or changes or trying to, okay, this isn't working, let's get off of it and do this. Right? Like, you didn't see that from him last year. And so I have those concerns. It's a ton to balance out. And I maybe Mitch will be great. Again, I want to give him a fair chance. I want to give him a fair shake. I don't want to be like, oh, he's terrible, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. We don't know. Right? He might be able to manage it all. He might be perfect. Spurs might be smooth sailings, right? But we've seen what bad coaching can do to teams. right? Sometimes the coaching is as important as the actual roster and players, right? Like, we've seen great coaches do more with less. I mean, you look at guys like Eric Spoelstra even. Just think of the rosters he's had and the achievements he's made. Right? Like, so again, we've seen great coaches can translate to success, even with, rosters that don't look to be ready for that level of success. Right? But we've also seen bad coaching with good rosters can tend to lead to, to poor results and the results that you're not looking for. Now, no one's expecting the Spurs to win a championship this year, but at least make the play and at least be a playoff team. And they might just do that just on pure talent, right? There are teams that have been, Kevin Durant with the Warriors were Steve Kerr was letting Iggy, he was chilling, sipping Mai Tais, letting Iggy and the team, coach themselves, right? Because it was just like I could have coached, you and me could have coached that. Like, there are teams throughout history that they didn't really need a coach. They'll work their own stuff out. But this team is a young team that is going to need coaching, that is going to need guidance, that is going to need proper structure, that is going to need proper lineup and rotation and guys getting minutes and, being willing to make the hard call for any given night. Like, hey, you just don't got it tonight. We're going to go with this guy tonight. Or, hey, this lineup has been our best lineup, right? Like, it just is. We'll figure it out with you, right? Because, again, there's a lot of egos that are getting managed. And you have, agents and stuff that are getting involved. Dude, my guy, like, this is year 2. He's supposed to be doing this or whatever, right? And it's a lot of noise that you have to deal with behind the scenes. People think coaching is just, what you do on the basketball court. It's not. It's a lot of behind the scenes things, a lot of managing egos. It's a lot of, breaking hearts and hurting feelings, right? It's a lot of, film and tape and, being able to see the tough truth, even when it's not, even when, everyone else telling you otherwise, right? Like, so is Mitch going to be able to do the job to the level in which the Spurs need? Because he is very young, look, Pop and the Spurs believe in him, right? So who am I to say otherwise? But I saw some very concerning things last year. Again, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So maybe this year he can bring it in. It's just a lot that he's going to have to navigate through in order for this to properly work. And his lack of experience, there's a lot of things. He's not coming to this like super veteran team. Like, super veteran teams usually they're easier. Everyone knows their role. Everyone knows their parts. You just come in. They just need somebody that basically calling timeouts, blowing the whistle, right? Like, yeah, you need structure, you need lineup, you need all that stuff. But like, it's easier to go to a team, even a team that's like young, but like it has experience, right? The Spurs are about as young as it gets, right? I mean, literally, they're top like 5, like outside of De'Aaron Fox, their top like 5 players are all like 20. Like, this is a young basketball team. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.